Most punishments in history were brutal, but some were just plain bizarre. We're not talking about ordinary prison sentences or simple fines. These are punishments so strange, so oddly creative, that they almost sound made up. Imagine being punished by being forced to wear a giant mask in public, or being executed by an animal, or even put on trial after you were already dead. Yes, history really was this weird. Today, we're counting down the 11 most bizarre punishments ever recorded, starting at number 11 and working our way down to the most unbelievable one of all. Let's begin with number 11. 11. The drunkard's cloak. In medieval England, public shaming was considered extremely effective. One punishment for excessive drinking was something called the drunkard's cloak. Instead of jail, the offender was forced to wear a wooden barrel, literally, over their body, with holes cut out for the head and arms. Then they were paraded through town for everyone to laugh at. No privacy, no dignity, just pure humiliation. The goal wasn't pain, it was embarrassment. 10. The scold's bridle. This punishment was used mainly against women accused of gossiping or speaking too much. The scold's bridle was a terrifying iron mask placed over the head. Inside the mask was a sharp metal plate that pressed down on the tongue. If the wearer tried to talk, it hurt. Victims were often led through the streets on display. It wasn't just punishment, it was public silencing. 9. Being forced to eat the evidence. In some historical courts, criminals were punished in strangely symbolic ways. There are recorded cases where bakers who cheated customers by using bad ingredients were forced to eat their own spoiled products. Butchers who sold rotten meat sometimes faced the same fate. Imagine being forced to consume the very thing that got you in trouble. Justice served literally. 8. The stocks and public throwing. You've probably seen the wooden stocks in movies, but the real experience was far worse. Criminals were locked into wooden frames in busy public areas for hours, sometimes days. And the public was encouraged to throw things at them. Not just vegetables, but mud, garbage, and sometimes much worse. The punishment relied on crowd cruelty, and crowds rarely showed mercy. 7. Animal trials. Yes, in medieval Europe, animals were sometimes put on trial like humans. Pigs, rats, and even insects were formally charged with crimes. There are real records of pigs being executed for attacking children. The animals were given lawyers, court hearings, and official sentences. It sounds absurd today, but at the time, it was taken completely seriously. 6. The pillory. Similar to the stocks, but often more dangerous, the pillory locked a person's head and hands in place on a raised platform. This made the victim highly visible and highly vulnerable. Crowds sometimes turned violent. People were pelted with stones, rotten food, and occasionally attacked physically. Some victims didn't survive the punishment, even though death wasn't technically the sentence. Public justice could quickly become mob justice. 5. The ducking stool. This punishment was commonly used for people accused of disorderly behavior. The victim was strapped into a chair attached to a long wooden beam over water. Then they were repeatedly dunked into a river or pond. Over and over and over again. It was meant to humiliate and frighten, but it could easily become deadly, especially in cold water. 4. Execution by elephant. In parts of South and Southeast Asia, trained elephants were sometimes used for executions. These animals were incredibly intelligent and could be trained to carry out punishments in very precise ways. Sometimes the elephant crushed the victim instantly. Other times, the process was deliberately slow and terrifying. It was meant not just to punish, but to send a powerful public message. Few punishments were more intimidating. 3. The brazen bull. This is one of the most infamous punishments in ancient history. The brazen bull was a hollow metal statue shaped like a bull. The victim was locked inside. Then a fire was lit underneath. As the metal heated up, the person inside slowly roasted. Even more disturbing, the bull was designed so the victim's screams sounded like the bull was bellowing. Punishment turned into performance. 2. Posthumous executions. Sometimes, being dead didn't save you. In certain historical cases, people were put on trial after death. If found guilty, their bodies could be dug up and symbolically punished, including public display or destruction of remains. Why? Because authorities wanted to make a statement. It wasn't about justice anymore. It was about power and fear. 1. Being buried alive. One of the most terrifying punishments ever recorded. In some ancient legal systems, certain crimes, especially involving betrayal or religious violations, were punished by live burial. No dramatic execution, no quick ending, just earth slowly closing in. It was rare, but when it happened, it became one of history's most horrifying punishments. And easily, one of the most bizarre. History is full of punishments meant to control, humiliate, and terrify. But looking back today, many of them feel almost unbelievable. Which one shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy dark, strange, and unbelievable history, make sure to subscribe. Because the past is far stranger than fiction.